Hello, everyone, and welcome to the May 24th regular Town Council meeting of the Town of Vegreville. I'll be looking for a motion to adopt the agenda for the meeting. Councillor Bullock makes the motion. Is there any additions or deletions? Seeing none, all those in favor? Carried, thank you. Next up, the adoption of the minutes of our last regular meeting. Councillor Warwa makes the motion. Is there any errors or omissions within those minutes? Seeing none, all those in favor? Carried. Okay, first off, under supplemental, we have a letter from Legion. Dear Mayor McPhee and Council, Royal Canadian Legion Branch 39 of Vegreville will be observing Decoration Day with a ceremony at the Field of Honor in Riverside Cemetery on Sunday, June the 11th, 2023 at 1 p.m. This ceremony will honor all our veterans who are buried at Riverside and will also acknowledge those who are buried in other cemeteries. Please accept this as your invitation. There will be a lunch at the Legion Hall after the ceremony where there will also be presentations of service pins and awards. If you're unable to attend, you may forward a message and it'll be read at the ceremony. So look for a motion to receive and file on this. Councillor Curtis makes the motion. I will be able to attend, but is anybody else willing to come out and help support this?
Possibly, yeah.
I'll check my phone.
Okay, so if everybody that can attend, we'll get a hold of Sandra, and then Sandra will get back to Rhonda. I will be attending. I don't know if you guys know, but they go to all the local cemeteries around, all the way Lavoie, out towards Harry Hill, everywhere cemetery, and anybody that's was in service that has died and buried, they put a Canadian flag on all the headstones. So it's a nice little service. So, okay, all those in favor of receiving file? Carried, thank you. Next up, under correspondence, we have a letter from Valet. Dear Mayor and Council, we recently went to Vegreville Materials Recovery Facility to dispose of several fluorescent light tubes that were result from the lighting upgrades of Valet. We have about 70 to 80 tubes to recycle at this time, and there will be more in the future. The manager at the VMRF said there was a $1 recycling fee per bulb, and that we could contact the town to have a fee waived given our status as a nonprofit agency. We are asking that the Mayor and Council approve our request to have the said fees given our nonprofit status. Respectfully submitted, Lana Sims. Take a motion to receive and file on this. Councillor Lemko makes it. Any discussion? They are a nonprofit. It's not something that we don't do. We do this all the time. So in your motion to receive and file, would you extend the motion to?
Yes, I'll extend the motion to include the waiving of the recycle fees associated with this request.
Okay. All those in favor? Carried. Thank you very much. Up next, Director Saskew.
Thank you, Worship. I'm going to go a little off agenda here and introduce my interim corporate services director, Bryce Johnston. So he started last week on Thursday and just learning the ropes in the next 3 weeks while I'm still here.
Well, welcome, Bryce. So what can you tell us about your background?
Told you we'd share this today.
There you go. I was born and raised in Sherwood Park, went to university in Edmonton, and then found my way out to Vegreville and articled at Wild & Company with Megan. She was a couple of years ahead of me. Through that, we have a great deal of audit experience, one of which was actually the town of Vegreville many years ago. So just kind of back to old roots and happy to help while she enjoys mat leave.
It's nice that you've already taken a look inside of our books before.
Yeah. So,
Well, welcome on board.
thank you.
And we look forward to working with you during Director Saskew's mat leave.
You guys as well. Thanks.
Okay. Go ahead, Director Saskew.
I even had him hard at work. He prepared some of this cash statement for me today. So we started the month with 9.49 million, ended the month with 9.283 million, with a net decrease of about $213,000. Going through the major sources and uses of cash, our major source of cash was FCSS Quarter 1 grant, and our major use of cash, for $96,000. And our major use of cash was our John S. Patouk water for $90,000. So I know it seems like we have a net of zero, but those were the large transactions that stuck out as something that's not recurring every month. The remainder of that is likely due to timing of deposits and checks withdrawn. So that is my report. We also earned $30,000 on our high interest savings account. So that's $7 million investment we have. We earn $30,000 a month.
Okay, I'll take a motion to receive as Councilor Barry. Any questions?
Thank you.
Pretty tame crowd tonight. Okay, thank you very much. Oh, all those in favor? Yeah. Okay, next up, Director Lefebvre.
Thank you, Your Worship. The first topic is the Vegreville Hotel and Inn subdivision. It's application file number 120523, Vegreville Lot 2, Block C, Plan 752-0117, or 6041 50th Avenue. The proposal is to have council review the attached list of requirements form for subdivision application for file number 120523 VEG and grant approval to the subdivision authority to proceed with this application. On May 17th, 2023, Planning Development received an application for subdivision approval from Keon Romanian to subdivide Lot 2, Block C, Plan 752-0114 into 4 commercial lots. Before the subdivision authority can make a decision regarding the application, council is required to review the attached list of requirements form and also address any other related concerns or recommended conditions that they may have regarding this application. The communication strategy is once approved to proceed with the process, the subdivision authority officer will, as per the Municipal Government Act, send notification of the subdivision application to the government departments, persons, local authorities as required by the subdivision and development regulation, the adjacent landowners, and post on the town's website and social media. Recommendation is being made that town council review the list of requirements form for subdivision application file number 120523 VEG, and that the approval be given to the subdivision authority to proceed with the application. Your second attachment is the application, and the third is a diagram showing the subdivision lots.
Okay. So is there a recommendation from IP&D?
Yeah, the recommendation is that council approve the subdivision process as it will go to the subdivision board, who will make the decision based on our criteria. So council gives the authority for the application to move forward through the process.
And then recommendation will come from the subdivision board back to council.
Subdivision board will make the decision.
Okay.
Because they're a board, they make decisions. They're not a committee.
Okay, so we'll need a motion here. Councillor Lemke makes the motion. Any questions? Go ahead, Councillor Bullock.
Just want to be clear exactly, I realize the address, but this is right next to in between which property?
It is on the north side of the Vegreville Inn and Suites, or Vegreville Garden Inn, or what used to be the Homesteader.
All right, yeah, thank you.
You can see on the diagram, there's 2 lots, highway frontage, and then 1 lot to the east on the backside of where Petrocan is now.
Good, thanks.
Okay. No other questions? Nope. All those in favor? Carry. Thank you. Next up, Director Lefebvre.
Thank you, Your Worship. The topic is a temporary road closure on 52nd Avenue. The proposal is to have Town Council consider the temporary road closure on 52nd Avenue from the front of the Royal Canadian Legion to the furthest east point of their parking lot. The background, the Legion is proud to host the Royal Canadian Air Cadet March. Terry Kuzik from the Royal Canadian Legion has requested the temporary road closure in front of the Royal Canadian Legion on 52nd Avenue on June 6th, 2023, from 6 p.m. till 8 p.m. Communication strategy is the temporary road closure will be posted as a news item on the town's website and through social media, as we do with all road closures. And your options are: 1, council to review the proposed road closure and approve; 2, council to recommend alternate road closure; and 3, the other option is to deny the application. And again, we've included a schematic better defining where the road closure is requested for those 2 hours.
Okay, thank you. Councilor Barry?
Thank you, Worship. I'll make the proposal that we accept option 1, to review the proposal and road closure and approve it.
Okay, any questions, comments? Go ahead, Councilor Bullock.
No, I think it's good to support the Legion any way we can, anytime they're doing anything in this community, and just makes us stand out, and it's important that the community know what's going on there and how important it really is.
Okay, just so you know, the cadets have been helping the Legion members learning how to march and everything right now to get ready for this, so it's, if you can make it, come on out and watch these young people in action, so. Okay, all those in favor of the motion for the road closure? Gary, thank you very much. Next up, Director Saskia.
Thank you, Your Worship. So this is a request for council decision to appoint a new Town of Vegreville Library Board member. The background is the members of the Town of Vegreville Library Board have approved the application of Lindsay Petro to serve on the library board. They are recommending that Lindsay be appointed to the Town of Vegreville Library Board to serve a minimum of 3 years, starting immediately, with the possibility of an extension for an additional 3-year term. With the appointment of Lindsay to the board, there will be 2 positions remaining to bring the board to full complement. Communication would be that a letter would be drafted to both the Town of Vegreville Library Board and Lindsay acknowledging the appointment to the board. Recommendation is that Town Council approve the appointment of Lindsay Petro to the Town of Vegreville Library Board for a 3-year term, starting immediately, with the possibility of an extension for additional 3 years.
Thank you. We'll take a motion for the recommendation. Councilor Curtis makes the motion. Any questions? Any comments? Go ahead, Councilor Warwick.
I just want to thank this member for bringing their name forward. We know how hard it is to get new volunteers, and this is a board that has a fairly large time commitment because it does meet monthly, so greatly appreciated.
Again, I'll echo those comments. Anytime a member of the public steps up to volunteer their time, it's always awesome, so. Okay, all those in favor? Carried. And I think you have one more.
I do, thank you. So this is now a request for council decision for a Vegreville Library Board member reappointment. The background is the members of the Town of Vegreville Library Board have approved Marie Armitage to serve a 2nd term on the library board. They are recommending that Marie be reappointed to the Town of Vegreville Library Board to serve a 2nd term of 3 years ending March 31st, 2025. With the reappointment of Marie to the board, there will be 3 positions remaining to bring the board to full complement. I think these are in opposite order because it went from 2 to 3. The communication, a letter will be drafted to both the Town of Vegreville and Marie acknowledging the reappointment to the board. Recommendation is that Town Council approve the reappointment of Marie to the Town of Vegreville Library Board for a 3-year term ending March 31st, 2025, which is 2 years.
2 years.
Let me just look at that. 2023.
Okay.
Yeah, and in the letter, they say the 2nd 3-year term to end March 31st, 2025. So I believe they're going a little retro on this.
But it is a 3-year term now.
It is a 3-year term, yes.
Okay, we'll take a motion for the recommendation. Councilor Barry makes the motion. Any comments? Go ahead, Councilor Barry.
I believe that Murray's been doing a very good job at the libraries board, so if he's willing to have his name stand forward for another 3-year term, I think that's very good.
Again, we all appreciate, he's been president this past 2 years, I do believe. To stay on there and help out, that's awesome, so. All those in favor of the recommendation? Carried, thank you very much. Holy, Director Sasky, you're just on a roll here.
Second last council meeting. So I have another request for council decision. This is the approval of unbudgeted expenditures policy. To approve the policy FIN 6007, approval of unbudgeted expenditures. The attached approval of unbudgeted expenditures policy is scheduled for review, and there have been minor changes to the policy, updating the definition of town manager to CAO to be consistent with the terminology used by town administration. There are no financial implications related to this policy approval. Any changes to the budget will be reported to town council as per policy FIN 6007. Communication strategy is senior management will be informed of the minor changes to the policy. And recommendation is that town council approve policy FIN 6007, approval of unbudgeted expenditures.
Right, thank you. Need a motion for the recommendation. Councilor Warburg makes the motion. Any questions? We went through this in our last ledge, so just some terminology that's changed in there, so. Okay, all those in favor? Carried. Guess we'll go back to you one more time.
Twice. Another request for council decision is signing authority for the legislative services manager. The proposal is to authorize signing authority for Sandra Ling, legislative services manager. In June 2023, the corporate services director will be going on leave for approximately 12 months. To ensure efficient operations, the town should have at least 3 administration signing authorities. So with this appointment, the elected officials, mayor and deputy mayor, together with administration, so the CAO, the corporate services director, infrastructure planning and development director, and the legislative services manager will have signing authority for the town. Communication strategy will be a written notification with a copy of the approved council meeting minutes, will be forwarded to the applicable financial institutions and corporations as required. And recommendation is that town council authorize Sandra Ling as a signing authority for the town of Vegreville effective May 24th, 2023.
Thank you. Okay, we need a motion for the recommendation. Councilor Curtis. Any discussion? Go ahead, Councilor Bullock.
Is this just for the interim, for the year while you're gone? Because it doesn't say that.
This is just going forward. So then if we give for the interim in the event that my leave is slightly more than 12 months or whatnot, then we're just leaving this as is for right now. And then if that needs to be revisited when I'm back, then we can change it back to how it was. So I'm just proposing it's infinitely for right now. It's just easier with the bank if you put a term on it, like they.
Great, did you guys check this out with Sandra Ling?
We did.
Okay. Well, if Sandra's in favor of it, all those in favor? Carried. Thank you. Would you like to take one more?
Yes, please.
Okay, let's do it.
I feel like I'm on Jeopardy. I'll take
Yeah.
request for council decision for 500. Credit card payments is the topic. The proposal is to obtain direction as to the town's fee structure around credit card payments. So background, we went over this in Ledge, but I will go over a few things. Credit card payments are currently accepted by the town for payment of property taxes, utilities, accounts receivable, and for all related payments. The merchant fees we're seeing for large payments range from 2.5% up to 10%. So if a payment is taken, especially if a payment's taken over the phone, they're charging us upwards of 10%. Council has the ability to set parameters around acceptance of credit card payments, and below examples are what the precedent that municipalities have set. So it's very clear that municipalities have set precedent that they do not accept any property taxes via credit card, with the exception of using option pay, which the town subscribes to. And what option pay does is you pay your property taxes online through our website, and option pay chooses the fee to charge you, keeps the necessary fee, and gives us the net full amount of property taxes that was on that invoice. For utilities and accounts receivable, there are several municipalities that don't accept credit cards at all. There's other municipalities that accept option pay, and then there's other municipalities that still accept credit cards up to certain thresholds. In regards to the option pay fees, I went and did a little bit of research based on payments that we've received recently. So on our website, option pay fees for the 2 examples that I have ranged from 3 to 3.22% on the transaction. So a smaller payment of $100 had a fee of $3, and a larger payment of $2,900 is a total fee of $93.50. So the $2,900 one is a really good example when we're talking property taxes. That's an average household's property tax invoice for the year, actually slightly higher. So if somebody really needs to pay their credit card fees, or their property taxes via credit card this year, it would be a fee of $93 that they're seeing. So that's not a significant fee, in my opinion, where they wouldn't be able to pay their taxes in a manner that they had in the past. And then we don't actually have a record of $10,000 or greater payment on option pay, because I'm sure people don't want to pay those fees. If they didn't have to, they would come in and paid the $10,000. Some other items to consider on this: it currently costs $635 for a family membership at the Aquatic Center. In keeping the payment threshold to $1,000, which we're proposing here, we could ensure that general recreation payments and receivables are not impacted by these proposed changes. So if we said we want to charge a 3% fee on absolutely every credit card payment, then recreation for every single payment would have to charge that fee, manually calculate the fee, or we'd have to figure out a button to charge the fee. So it could impact their operations significantly. By leaving a threshold of $1,000, their recreation will be relatively unaffected by these changes that we're proposing today, and this is cracking down on the large AR invoices and the property taxes, which are the ones that we're seeing the really high fees right now. Another one to make note of is the Visitor Information Center. It's set up for credit card payments and services. So as we know, most people expect credit or debit as a daily cost of doing business. They expect most places to accept that. This past week alone, there were 809 walk-ins to the Visitor Information Center. So if all of those people purchased a $3 item or a $2 item and we charged them a credit card fee, that would be a little bit of an undue hardship to our staff, our summer staff that are working at the front desk. So we really don't want to cause undue hardship right now with these fees. So once again, I'm proposing the $1,000 threshold so that we can ensure the Visitor Information Center payments and receivables are not impacted by these proposed changes at this certain particular time. And so another thing is it's not the small credit card transactions that are costing our organization. It's the over the phone and large scale transactions like property taxes and those large AR invoices, like a $20,000 invoice. We saw a 10% fee because they had a high rate card, and that cost us $2,000. So that's where we're seeing the impact. Also, the impact to admin, recreation, visitor information, and landfill staff in regards to training and implementation of a fee on small costs greatly outweighs any merchant fees that we're seeing on transactions less than $1,000. And by transactions less than $1,000, that means invoice amount. So if you have a $20,000 invoice, you can't come in and pay $1,000 every day to pay your invoice off by the end of the month. We would enact this saying that if your invoice is over $1,000, you are getting charged the credit card fee. If it's less than $1,000, we're keeping it. So the other side of that too is with our virtual town hall, we can set up the $1,000 limit and the threshold with the additional fee. And really there's only a very few AR that would be over the $1,000 limit. For the most part, this would still let people pay utilities and dog licenses, those smaller ticket items with our virtual town hall. Our virtual town hall is set up to only be able to take credit card or Visa debit payments. There would be no way to use virtual town hall to accept payments without accepting credit cards. So it's like online, when you purchase something online, you have to use your credit card for the most part. So communication would be senior management will be informed and council resolution will be shared with the public. We will do a communication strategy presented to the public as options to pay current property taxes, which are due June 30th, 2023. So once this motion is passed tonight, corporate services will work with the Community Engagement and Economic Development Department to put together an in-depth communication strategy rolling out to the public for this week. So recommendation, administration recommends that town council pass a resolution to no longer accept credit card payments for property taxes with the exception of using option pay on the website. So that will give us 100% collection of property taxes. Option pay charges the fee, keeps the fee to themselves, so we still get 100% of the property taxes. And further, that town council pass a resolution to accept credit card payments for utilities accounts receivable, and other payments under $1,000 in person or online, and set up an applicable fee through virtual town hall, 3% for payments over $1,000, or through option pay only. So the 3% fee would also apply to, like, if somebody was paying a large AR invoice at our town hall, we would also charge that fee as well.
Okay, I'll take a motion for the recommendation. Counselor Lemko, any discussion? We'll go with Counselor Berry first, and then we'll come back.
Thank you, Your Worship. Director Saxco, I think that was very well explained, and I think that it is even clearer than when we were dealing with this at Ledge at our earlier meeting. So I think that it's better now that you've given us a very clear option here compared to the 4 we were debating about a week ago. The question I have is, if they're going in on the option pay, you said that when they see what the fee is going to be there, they could still back out of that and come into the office and pay in person.
That is correct. So the option pay, once you get to the second screen, this is one I'm not gonna zoom in too much because it's actually a one. So the payment card amount is $300, and then it says option pay load fee $980. So total is $309.80. So for a $300 business license that is being paid, they agreed to pay the $980, and then they click yes. So there's always a point that where they can cancel, so they can go in, enter the information into option pay. And what option pay has that the town doesn't is they go through these transactions frequently. So once you type in what you're paying and the amount you're paying and your card, I believe they pre-approve or pre-authorize the card, so then they learn if it's a really high points card or whatnot. I wasn't able to see a trend from the payments I pulled, but they weren't a consistent 3% fee. It was a 3% fee on the smaller one. The larger one was a 3.23% fee. So that could be because it's maybe a higher points card. So I think they have the ability to tell what the costs are gonna be on that transaction, and then they show you what their fee is for providing that service, and you agree to it before you hit finalize.
Okay, thank you. Counselor Whirlwind.
Yeah, I echo Councillor Berry in that it makes a lot more sense this way. I know there's going to be some pushback, but I think the most important thing for people to understand is that we aren't charging them with the option pay. It's literally a scenario where we are actually required and supposed to be collecting 100% of the taxes, and it's not fair for some people to actually not pay 100% of the taxes. So I think this is something we've found there was an issue, and we're addressing it, so that's good. My one question, though, was I'm sorry, this is like a loaded question, and if I would have realized, I would have given you some time ahead, so you may not have this for me right now, but I know that we're talking about that 1,000 threshold. Do we have any idea what amount we would be paying on that? I know it's pretty hard to guess, but I'm just wondering, because I know we've paid some really high fees, and while I don't want to add administrative burden, when we also start adding it up, if we start finding out that we have $100,000 or more in even small transaction fees, then it may warrant saying we have to go to something that's all option pay or whatnot. So I'm just wondering if you have anything on that.
And that is something that we did discuss in our senior management meeting. And I think that by setting these parameters right now, especially with me going on leave, I'm not causing undue hardship to all of our other departments, especially my own. The paper statement fee, we've had lots of questions and concerns. And so anytime we introduce new fees, it really does burden our front end staff because they get the brunt of people's complaints along with council. I'm well aware of that. But by implementing this fee and doing the $1,000 threshold, we can compare prior year's bank amounts and this year's, because we will be cutting off the property tax payments immediately as of tomorrow. There's been very few that have been paid so far on credit cards, so then we can really see that difference in the transactions, because we do have quite a few transactions, and it'll be interesting to see without going through and pulling out all of the large transactions and adding up like with a manual tally, setting this way for right now and then comparing next year is probably our best bet at like deciding if this is effective enough as it is, or if we have to take things a step further like many other municipalities have and just say we're not accepting credit card for anything.
Thank you.
Okay, so I'll start with the communications. So we'll use more than our social media outlets. Will we use the radio and the paper to get this information out to the general public? Okay. We will be doing no over-the-phone transactions anymore,
That is correct.
because that is probably a 5% charge up front on a high-end card.
Yeah, as soon as the card is not present, there's on all of our machines that it asks, and as soon as the card's not present, because we're doing the manual transaction in, it charges us a higher fee. Because it's easier for them to do a chargeback and say, I didn't authorize that.
Okay, so, well, like I said, this is something I've been calling for a long time. Everybody should pay 100% of their taxes. It's not fair not to. And it's not fair that on our accounts receivable, that we're losing 10%, so some business can go on a holiday. So we will monitor this at the 3% and at $1,000 as the ceiling. But I would imagine by this time next year, we'll be going like most businesses do to 500. Because we will still be losing probably 3 or 4% on the other 500. Just so everybody knows that. But for the convenience right now to get into this cycle, I mean, we're not flat out saying we're not taking credit cards like a lot of municipalities are doing. And with the pay option or the option pay, people can make up their own mind. If they would want to walk down here with a check, or if they want to burn up their money in a credit card to get some holiday points. Councillor Bullock, you get something? Okay. Go ahead, Councillor
Thank
Berry.
you, Wood. Maybe we should just say just what it has been costing us with, by the use of credit cards and paying taxes and et cetera. We haven't thrown that figure out. It's somewhere in the vicinity of $70,000 in a year.
I think 3 years ago, when we looked at it, it was almost $80,000 on credit cards,
so
on
that's-
property taxes only.
Yeah, that's a lot of money to be losing off of property taxes when we're supposed to be gaining and charging and collecting all of our taxes.
For sure. Okay, if there's no other comments, we have a motion for the recommendation, so all those in favor? Carrie, thank you.
Thank you.
Good work. Okay, next up, CAO Leggett.
Thank you, Your Worship. So this is a request for council decision as well. This is the final approval on the policy here, so I'll read through the full staff report on it. Topic is HR 4001, Employee Policy Manual, and the proposal is to approve the revisions to Policy HR 4001, Employee Policy Manual, proposed by our Human Resources Officer and myself. Background on this, the draft employee policy manual was presented to the senior management team and was discussed and revised over several meetings. Once completed, the policy and proposed revisions were presented to town council for discussion at legislative committee meetings held on April 18th and May 2nd, 2023. The attached employee policy manual has been updated to reflect the original wording of vacation accruals in 4.17. There have been no changes to the vacation accruals from the proposed last draft or the existing policy that is in place today. Clarification has also been added detailing that vacation carryover is as of December 31st annually, with the maximum carryover days updated from the proposed 5 to 10 to be consistent with the 10 days of vacation that is entitled to employees after 1 year of service. Additional information has been added noting that vacation can be taken in the first year of employment after successful completion of the employee's probation period to the extent that the employee has accrued such vacation. Vacation accruals are calculated biweekly based on employee start date and earned evenly throughout the year. Section 2.1 has been revised to include the statement that council authorizes the CAO to negotiate terms of employment upon hiring senior or specialized employees. The financial implications of the proposed changes, we believe this will save the town money through retention of staff and elimination of inconsistent and outdated practices and procedures. The communication strategy is to have all approved changes rolled out via staff meetings and potentially a lunch and learn style information session. The Human Resources Officer will work closely with the Community Engagement Department to ensure all staff are informed of the approved changes. And finally, the recommendation is that town council approve the revisions to policy HR 4001, Employee Policy Manual.
Okay, thank you very much. I'll be looking for a motion to. Councilor Berry makes the motion for the recommendation. Any comments? Go ahead, Councilor Worley.
Well, unfortunately, our human resource officer isn't here tonight, but I would say I appreciate that they took into consideration some of the changes we wanted, some clarification, because some I felt was a little bit unclear at the beginning. And my goal has been to see that all employees feel that they have consistency and fairness applied to them. And I think that this makes more sense, so I appreciate that some of our concerns were reflected and changed. So thank you.
Thank you, Councillor. I'll relay the message.
I think we all acknowledge that the work that went into this, and, you know, we appreciate all the employees in this organization, but we are here to question and to make sure that the citizens of this municipality are getting the best bang for their buck as well. So again, we do appreciate the work that was put in, and we're all here to support this now, the way it's written, so. All those in favor of the motion? Carried. Thank you very much. You still got one left to go here.
I do indeed. All right, so this one's also an RCD. The topic is the Perpetual Pride Week. The proposal is to approve the annual celebration of Pride Week during the month of June by raising the Pride flag at the town's east and west entrance community flagpoles and painting Pride colors on the east-west crosswalk in front of the town administration building. This is background in Alberta. The first Pride celebration was held in 1980 and became a week-long festival in 1983. Although Pride events have grown in popularity in urban centers, rural areas are struggling to show support for their LGBTQ2S+ community members. By celebrating Pride, it shows the youth that their community supports and cares for them, creating an accepting community in which they feel safe and will want to remain in. Every year, the Pride Week, or the Pride Planning Week Committee, celebrates Pride Week in the month of June. And annually since 2021, the committee sends a request to council for support of the celebration by raising the Pride flags and painting the crosswalk. Every year, council is receptive to these initiatives and supports the Pride Week committee requests. The approval of a perpetual Pride Week will allow for the flag raising and crosswalk painting to be part of the predetermined plans for every year's celebration. If the Pride Week committee would like to see changes to these perpetual plans, they would then submit a request to council for any changes. Financial implications are nominal, as the committee pays for the sidewalk paint and supplies the labor to do the painting. The request to the town is in kind to supply movable road barricades for completing the painting. Communication strategy. The Pride Week committee has a social media communication plan that they will follow during Pride Week and ask that the town share the message on the town's social media. And the recommendation, as the Pride Week is an annual event, administration is recommending that town council approve a perpetual Pride Week celebration during the month of June of raising the Pride flag at east and west entrances of town on the community flagpoles and allowing for the annual painting of the crosswalk that runs east-west on 50th Street along 49th Ave. I'll make a note to look into it. I'll send it out by email, Your Worship. Okay, will do.
Okay, so let's start the council's report with Mr. Warwick.
update, we don't have the information yet, but our FCSS was working on doing a bit of a homelessness assessment. That assessment time period has come to an end, and I think the thing that I wanted to note is they had 238 responses, which is a very, very high number. It will take a couple months before they're able to bring the data back, but the shout out that I wanted to give them is when they were looking to do this, they wanted to bring in tons of organizations and clubs to help get the survey out. And there are obviously multiple communities doing this. And we've basically been tagged as being the #1 community that had the most additional groups on board for getting the survey out. So I think that's a really big shout out. So I had that. Later that evening, I attended the political forum here in town. So thank you to the chamber. It's always wonderful to have an opportunity for people to hear from all the candidates, and we all know that there's some open polls and the upcoming election. So while not making any suggestions, I always do suggest voting. So hopefully everyone gets out there. And tonight's council meeting. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
And now I'll get off the mic for you.
Councilor Curtis.
Oh, yeah. Should I just speak loudly?
Oh, yours is out too.
I think they're all down.
Something happened to all of your mics. So we've got these 3 mics going, but my system is nothing but blinking lights, so I'm not sure if something got kicked or what, but just try to project to the red mics in front of you.
Sure. So for me, May 10th was our economic development meeting. We had some info back from our CSG meeting, so there was looking for ideas on how to move the town forward, which I'm excited to go to our next ECDED meeting. We're all bringing back our ideas on the 1 to 5 year kind of plan and see what we can bring back and get the ball rolling on moving the town forward, whether it's business attraction, population and housing, things like that. Just where we all sit and feel with everybody on that committee, and plans to move forward and make the town better. I also attended Mark Lucas's retirement on the 10th. It was nice to see everybody there supporting Mark, and I was a volunteer firefighter for 5 years, so I got to see some faces I haven't seen in a while. I did check my fob. It did not still open the building, so that's good security measures there. I never did give it back. May 16th, we had our ledge meeting, and then last night on the 23rd, we had our VTAB meeting. And there's quite a bit of info on the VTAB meeting, so I will try and pick out some highlights. Our Go East of Edmonton, our rep there, Kevin Kiselevich, does a great job on their tour guide. They have a new game plan this year, or a new driving game, so it's trying to get people out. Thanks. Trying to get people out to see different small towns east of Edmonton. So it's kind of a game where you get stickers and you can QR code in to show where you've been. I think there's over $6,000 worth of prizes with that, the more places you stop this summer. Vegreville Ag Society coming up, Dash to Summer is June 2nd to 4th, so there's tons of stuff there. Chuck Wagon Racing, Horse Show. It says entire grounds full of bouncy houses, so I'm sure the kids will enjoy that. Chicken races, beer gardens, vendors, and it's only $5 to get in. So look forward to that. We have the RCMP Musical Ride coming up June 16th. Our Father's Day car show and event on June 18th there. Passaic Park Markets opening up Thursdays from June 22nd to August 31st. And they're introducing a new program called Market Buds, where it gets kids involved. They can get some ideas and some help from some established vendors, and they get a chance to put up a tent and sell their product. And if they choose to do so, they can jump on and buy a spot if they feel like they're up to the challenge. So that's a good way to get some new entrepreneurs into town. Passaic Festival, July 7th to 9th. Fair, August 9th to 13th. There's a Dean Brody concert, August 11th. Bunnock Tournament, August 19th to 20th. Tons of stuff going on. So really looking forward to this summer. The other thing we do have as well is the Canada Day event, and I've been given permission to throw out some of the stuff we're going to be doing there. So we're planning out at the Passaic Park a fun day full of events. There's a free color run. I think it's a 2 or 3 kilometer track. So wear white, get signed up, get blasted with some color, run around, have some fun, bring the kids. There's a bunch of food trucks coming. sort of a market as well. Stage is being provided, we're gonna have some music and entertainment, there's gonna be face painting, bouncy houses, you know, tons of time for the kids and fun, and it's, you know, gonna be an evening event, so we're hoping people will roll in there later on in the day and stick around for the 20 to 25-minute fireworks show that we're getting this year too, so. All sounds really good, and we're looking forward to a big event. And then just update from the VIC, so the VIC staff is all there working hard. So in total right now, we've had 102 nights camped, so with all the people there and the amount of spots used already this year. Close to 5,000 people they've counted in the park already, just roaming, and almost 2,000 have come into the visitor center, and they're buying souvenirs, and they're grabbing ice cream and chips and whatever else. As well, the Borough bike, we've done 8 already, and I believe the boats are getting ready to go in next week into the pond there. So that is my update for that. And then tonight's council meeting.
Thank you very much. Counselor Bullock.
Okay, for me, not quite as long as that, but anyways, May 10th, Economic Development Committee meeting via phone. I wasn't able to make that meeting, but Councilor Curtis elaborated on that, so that's great. May 16th, Legislative Committee meeting. On May 18th, MD of Minburn Foundation board meeting. It was my first one. Interesting to see what's going on there and how things are progressing forward with plans. Really good news. May 18th, Vegreville and District Chamber of Commerce General Meeting with guest speaker Angela Pachalik, manager of the Provincial Chamber Services and Administration. So she had a few good things to say about going out there. As well, the Chamber is having their golf mixer tomorrow for any who haven't heard. The registration is tomorrow still, so if you still want to make it, I'm still sure you could. May 23rd, the Political Forum, and tonight's council meeting. That's it for me.
Thank you very much. Counselor Lamco, what have you been up to? Push the button.
Thank
Push
you,
it hard.
Your Worship.
Push it over.
May 9th, I attended the Vegreville Area Stands with Ukraine Committee meeting. This committee's been in operation for over a year. Membership on the committee is strong, and although we've lost a few members now after a year of serving on the committee, so the committee remains strong. There's a focus now on helping those that are already settled in Canada versus helping those who are still in Ukraine coming. So the people that are here, there's lots of Ukrainians in Alberta, and some of those people are seeking to move out of the cities into rural settings. So that's where we'll step in and help in that situation. So we continue to be strong. We've got probably 30 families and close to 90 new residents in the community that this committee has supported. And there's others that are in the community that didn't come through us, but we're getting a stronger contingent of Ukrainians settling in Vegreville than originally we had thought. May 10th, I went to Deputy Mark Lucas's retirement social at the Fire Hall. And congratulate Mark on 43 years as a volunteer firefighter in Alberta. That's a long commitment of time and energy that Mark has given the citizens of Alberta, as well as 28 years in Vegreville. So kudos, Mark. Congratulations on your retirement. And if you see Mark on the street, thank him for the years of service that he's put into our community. May 15th, the Foxview Bike Park photo. We had an opportunity to get some photos at the new Foxview Bike Park. I live right there, and I get to see and enjoy the children playing on the park. Tonight, as I came to council here, there was 6 or 7 of them lined up on top, from little to big kids riding the jumps and that. And it's laughter and fun to see, and I'm glad that we invested in that park. May 16th, the Ledger meeting. May 17th, the Alberta Association of Immigration Services Association Zoom call. I participate in this call every 2 weeks, and it's the portfolio all the agencies involved in the updates on both the north and the south groups that sit in on this. And it's information I gather and I take back to the Vegreville area Stands With Ukraine for funding and that. So it's a good committee. It's good to see what's happening. May 18th, MD of Minburn committee meeting, and we're narrowing down our needs assessment, moving forward for the Homestead Lodge and what that's going to look like in years to come, and the proposal of an expansion and what that might look like. And that should be out here, we're hoping, by the end of June, the full report, and that report will come to council for discussion purposes. On the 23rd, the Tourism Advisory Board meeting, and I can't add anything other than what Councillor Curtis echoed there. It's exciting to be part of that committee and all the things that are happening in this community. I say put your seatbelt on because there's lots going on. You can not even leave town and be full of things that are happening. Last night's political forum at the Social Center, I was encouraged by the amount of people that came out to listen to the forum, which hopefully all those same people will show up at the ballot boxes. So if you, that's the next 4 years of our provincial governing folks, so go out there and put your X on the spot and vote. Today's, I went to a municipal development planning meeting regarding our municipal development and changes that are proposed in that plan moving forward, and I think it's an excellent plan. And once it's completed, there'll be some information out to the residents of the community with the changes that are being proposed in that plan. And, Your Worship, tonight's council meeting.
Thank you very much. Councillor Barry.
Thank you, Your Worship. Not a lot going on for myself right at the moment. Went to the Mark Luce's barbecue retirement. I echo the things that have been said so far tonight. Mark, you did a fabulous job, and it's great to see a volunteer that put in 43 years. The Ledge meeting on the 16th. On the 17th, I was at St. Joseph's Hospital, the community board meeting. And I have to say the hospital is running very smoothly right now, even though they do need a few more nurses and RNs, and they will be posting for interviews soon. So anybody that's looking for a job as a registered nurse or an LPN should be looking for those postings. Tremendous amount of their time has been spent getting the Connect Care up and running, and it's going to be a very good way of getting information on your health care. Last night, I was not as a counselor, but as a proud father at the St. Mary's graduation at the Holy Trinity Church, where they had their mass and got to throw their hats in the air, we'll put it that way. And then the rest of the ceremony will be on Friday night. But I found it to be very interesting to have watched these kids from kindergarten all the way through to grade 12 and seen the massive change in who they have become as graduates. So it'll be very interesting on Friday night to see how they finish off their school year and get ready to move on, lots into university or to tech schools or other endeavors. And in tonight's meeting. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Councillor Barry. So myself, on May the 9th, we had a meeting with Elk Island Public School Board, and they showed us their documents that they took out of their engineered study of what the public school system will look like here in the future. It's not too encouraging, but based on the numbers we're seeing today. So their recommendation will be close Ale Horton and do a major renovation at the Comp. Of course, we told them we hope to change their mind with all the activity that we have going on in town here, and they were more than accepted to hear what we may be, how our community is about to grow. That being said, there's no funding for any of this or anything in place, and there's quite a few other schools that aren't even funded yet that they've proposed on their master plan. Anyway, it was a very good meeting, and the superintendent will probably be the last time we'll get to see Mark Lalaurie. He is now stepping down as the superintendent, and there's a new person coming in. And Trina, the chair. It was a very good meeting, and they were actually very pleased with the amount of involvement of the regular citizens of Vegreville in the course, over the course of the two different, I wouldn't say the meeting, but sessions that they've had with input from local people. Also on May the 9th, I had a meeting with NATIGO, which is the Northeast Alberta Association for Growth and Opportunity, which used to be the Northern Mayors and Reeves of the Northeast. And we had our strategist giving us a little bit more information about what our next step will be. The committee has already brought forth some concerns for this alliance, what's happening in the Northeast. And we've told the government that we're no longer going to be the unwanted stepchild of the province. So we convinced them very shortly to put a $5 million study together on the needs on Highway 28. And what there are other concerns there moving forward, that it better be deemed an economic corridor and all the benefits that come with it. And we're still fighting to get a budget line in every budget about what will be spent in the Northeast on roads and on highways. So it's a very good coalition that we've put together, and we're getting very strong. So I continue to try to hold everybody. It's like chasing cats or herding cats, trying to get every mayor and reeve together, but it's the outcomes are very good. We had our development committee meeting, and we were setting forth a plan on what we feel will be achievable 1 year, 2 years, 3 years down the road, and I'm pretty excited about this whole committee's coming together, and a whole new department. I too was at the barbecue for retirement for Mark Lucas, and it was very nice to see that everybody showed up, and that there's still some young people that know how to cook steaks. I see they pushed all the older firemen out of the way and took over the grill, which was nice to see, passed the spatula sort of thing. On the 11th, I had lunch with Dr. Jan Salaski from Alberta Initech, and he just brought me up to date on what was happening with the Alberta Hemp Alliance and some news in the hemp industry. On the 16th, we had our ledge meeting. On the 18th, I was at the Chamber AGM. And this morning, we had our municipal development plan review, and so there'll be some changes to where it was before, and then that'll be brought to the public. I was at last night's political forum. I was hoping there would be a few more people there, but it wasn't a bad turnout, and I thought everybody did a very good job. Tonight's town council meeting, I want everybody to know that I've been taking a lot of calls regarding what's going on in our downtown core, and some of the residents above buildings, the train station, just the way that these people are treating the downtown and our local businesses are just about had. So I've been working very closely with municipal enforcement, and we are trying our best to bring every angle that we can, if it's the health unit, if it's fire codes, because there's something bad's gonna happen downtown if we don't start getting some of this irresponsible landlords that are letting people in, and of course, if you own a business downtown, you would be upset. I mean, even walking downtown in our core right now is not a comfortable situation. So I've taken lots of calls with that. I've had quite a few calls regarding the removal of the skate park at the Egg Park, and after some citizens weren't happy, I mean, I've never backed away from what our initial goal is here, and we feel that the outcome is a better outcome by doing this for the majority of the citizens of Vegreville compared to those that are using it today when this new park comes online. But I've always encouraged every resident that they can reach out to me, and if they want to go to the public or to the media, that's their right. So anyway, I wish I could give you a bigger update about what the plan is to make our downtown safer, because right now, it's not good. I'll tell everybody on this council right now, that if something doesn't change in our downtown core soon, we are going to have a fire, we're going to have, something bad is going to happen. And the businesses no longer want to stand by, or they expect more from the town of Vegreville than what they're getting. Now, that's through the RCMP, that's through municipal enforcement, the Health Act, through fire codes, whatever we can do. We are going to step up here and we're gonna start taking care of this before something bad does happen, so. Okay, thank you all for what you do and your reports. Now I'll take a motion to go into closed session. Councilor Berry makes the motion. All those in favor? Carried.